gives you a stronger dose of the healing neurochemicals that are mandatory in order for healing to take place. I'm going to provide some video clips of what the involuntary body movements can look like. That way, when you see what it looks like, your subconscious mind now feels safe to give itself permission and surrender to the experience. Breathers, welcome to this breathwork session. This takes a lot of courage and bravery when you really know what you're getting yourself into. And I know that many of you might just be wondering, like, what the heck is this breathwork strategy? So I'm going to show you the strategy first, the technique, and then we'll go over some basic essentials. And then we'll do the strategy again because you will have probably forgotten it. So essentially, this is going to be a type of intentional hyperventilation. And when it's intentional, we call it superventilation. You are in control. Normally, when we think of hyperventilation, we think of someone who just had like a traumatic experience and they're breathing out of control and they just can't help it, right? They can't even try to slow down if they wanted to. This is different because you're in control. You get to control how much you're on the brake or the gas. How much do you want to slow down or go deep into the experience? So I'm going to stand up for the demo. And essentially, when you're breathing, you'll be laying on your back with either no pillow or a very small pillow. Small meaning not like big and fluffed up, because you don't want to have much of a bend in your neck as you're laying, because it restricts the airflow, and you're going to want to be taking in a lot of air during this experience. So there's different types of breathing. There's diaphragmatic breathing and there's chest breathing. Now, diaphragmatic breathing, the belly goes in and out, and chest breathing, the chest goes in and out. And if you ever seen like a baby sleeping, you'll notice it's the belly. It's their belly that's rising and falling if a baby is sleeping, on their back. And that's a very good thing, because if you saw that they were chest breathing, it means that they're in a state of distress, very stressed out, not self-regulate. Babies don't self-regulate. They rely on their caretakers for that. But essentially, the inhale is going to be in two parts. It is going to look a little bit like a wave. It's going to first be a belly breath and then a chest breath. It'll be in, and then one exhale. And we're going to be breathing through our mouth. Normally, we don't ever want to be breathing through our mouths unless it's a very intense physical exercise, or things like right now, we'll be doing the breathwork journey. But usually you always want to be breathing through your nose, nose, nose. Very important. We won't go into all that now. But there are things that you can do to switch from being a mouth breather to a nose breather. And your nervous system and your emotional regulation and your cardiovascular system will thank you for it later if you make that switch. But for this purpose here, the inhale will first be the diaphragmatic belly breathing. And then the second inhale, exhale. So I can't really give verbal instructions while I'm breathing, but I'll give a few rounds of that. So it's kind of almost like a wave. I was going a little bit slow. I'll do it a little bit faster. In and out, in and out. Even just those short few little rounds right there made me a little bit dizzy. Thankfully, you will be laying down when you do this, and we can go over the technique again at the end to make sure that you really have it dialed in. Oh, catch my breath a little right now. On that note, there's a thing called tetany, which is safe and okay, but just good for you to know about because you might get something called lobster claws. Well, that's the fun name for it. Lobster claws or T-Rex hands, where they kind of seem locked up like this and almost like frozen like that. And you might feel a tingling or pins and needles in your hands or your face or in different parts of your body. And you might feel different muscle tensions kind of like tightening up. I get it in my face a lot, and then the hands. And when I'm really going deep, I get it in my legs and abdominal muscles as well. And that's okay. Just something to be aware of. If there's ever anything that you're experiencing that is just too intense for you, then ease off the brake or ease off the gas, and that essentially presses the brake pedal, where you just slow down your breathing and it will automatically begin to slowly normalize those things if you feel the need. And so what is so special about this style of breathing? Well, it does something called intentionally induced transient hypofrontality, which essentially just means that it lowers the volume, so to speak, on the prefrontal cortex of your brain, and it gets us out of that stressful hyper analytical mode. It turns down the chatter on the self-critic, and it just turns down the volume on analyzing things, which can actually be really stressful to our experience and our nervous system. And what it does is it makes a switch to access the depths of our subconscious mind. And we're less in analytical mind and we're more accessing the depths of the subconscious. And sometimes what this does is, a lot of you guys have heard me say this saying, you got to feel it to heal it. You got to feel it to heal it. And we could all remember those times in the past where maybe something very challenging happened and we were about to cry and we didn't let it out because we were like shy or embarrassed or ashamed, and we held it in. Maybe it's anger, frustration, crying. There's something, some very emotional experience that we didn't feel safe enough to let it out, and so we suppressed it. And the subconscious mind puts a bookmark in this experience and says, well, okay, if you're not going to experience it right now, we'll bookmark it. And when there's a safe time to experience that, we're going to let it all out. It could be literally 10, 20, 30, 40 years later. It depends on when you allow safe conditions to essentially allow your subconscious mind to feel safe enough for vulnerable emotional expression. And by safety, it's literally like a neurochemical set of neurochemicals and hormones in the body and in the brain that now are perceived as safe to be vulnerable. And now that bookmark from years ago, that emotional bookmark that we didn't allow to show up, the breath work allows for it to show up. It allows for these things to be surfaced. You got to feel it to heal it. And so sometimes it can be very, very intense. But don't worry, we don't leave you in a state of intensity. Oftentimes after this, you are filled with the emotions of gratitude and compassion. And it's oftentimes this grand compassion for other people, and also a deep self-compassion for yourself, which for most people, we can all use an elevated subconscious perception of our self-compassion. That was a mouthful. And healing equals safety plus vulnerability. Healing equals safety plus vulnerability. We all have things to heal from, all of us, even for those of us who have just been on the incredible healing journey for years and have really leveled up and healed a lot. There's still so much more always to heal from that gets revealed. New life stresses come at us. New things begin to surface that maybe perhaps didn't in the past. And that is one of the beautiful things about this breath work, is it allows these things to happen. And you may experience things such as spontaneous laughter or the sudden need to cry. And this breath work also has breath holds, where you're breathing in such a way where it allows for very long length of time breath holds. And we hold it. And then on the exhale, we do a yell or a scream as loud as you can and at the top of your lungs. Use a pillow to scream into if you have people who are going to hear it, who might like call the cops on you if they're the neighbors, or if you might like scare little kids in the house or something. Warn the people, tell the people that you live with, hey, I'm doing this healing breathwork journey experience. You're going to hear a very loud yell or scream. I'm okay. Tell them I'm okay. It's a part of scream therapy that's good for every single person to experience, and I'm bravely doing this. So, communicate that. And it's actually pretty amazing how much it can be muffled when you scream into a pillow. It can be like a warrior roar, like yell it out. It can be high pitched or more of like that, growling roar, whatever way feels comfortable for you. Do that. And when it's time for the scream, or if you feel tears coming, let them come, let them come. Use your vocal cords to the strongest degree possible. Cry, wail like perhaps an infant would. This is for a number of reasons. The more that you involve your vocal cords, the more it involves your vagus nerve, which then activates the parasympathetic nervous system. It's the ventral vagus nerve, activate the parasympathetic nervous system. And what does this do? It gives you a stronger dose of the healing neurochemicals, such as oxytocin. Oxytocin allows you to feel safe. It's that felt sense of safety that allows for stronger release, stronger emotional healing and processing, and you can deepen and strengthen the healing with a heightened dose of oxytocin. Crying will automatically do that, but when you engage your vocal cords, it does it to a stronger degree. That means you get to deepen the healing experience during those moments. And when we heal in these deep ways, how does that affect us in our everyday life? We have more confidence in the way that we show up, in the way that we make choices and decisions, in the way we use our voice and just speak with this grand confidence because you've reconnected with those parts about who you are that feel safe to connect with, that no longer feel the need to hide in the depths of your subconscious mind. And what else does it do when you cry with your vocal cords? So crying is so an audio experience when we think about, when a baby is born and comes into this world, or when an infant or toddler needs something. The reason why it's so loud is because that baby needs and deserves help. That baby needs and deserves help, support, love, kindness in its moment of distress. And so it's audible so that that help can come along the way, right? At no point in our lives did we ever lose being deserving of that. But most of us have learned how to cry silently so that no one hears us, so that we're not a burden, so that, whatever it may be. And when we cry silently, it reinforces the subconscious message to yourself that you are not worthy of love and kindness and support in your moment of pain, when in fact that's when you need the love and kindness and support more than any other time. That empathetic witness to your pain, will strengthen the felt sense of safety in the body more than just about anything else. And that activates something called the ventral vagus nerve, activates the parasympathetic nervous system, and gives us the feel-good healing neurochemicals that we need, that are mandatory in order for healing to take place in this emotional processing and healing on a much deeper, visceral, subconscious level. And so when you learn to cry with your vocals, Oh man, it might feel so vulnerable, even if you are so alone. I remember the first time that I did this a few years ago, crying, wailing loudly, just allowing the pain to surface, even though I know that nobody was in audible distance of me, but it felt so totally vulnerable. Like shame wanted to take over my body. But since I was crying, with the vocals, it elevated my oxytocin and I was able to heal in a much deeper way. And I really understood like, oh man, this is what they mean by a good cry. Holy moly. Um, and so send your subconscious mind the message that you are worthy of love and kindness and support when you are in the depths of your pain. And having that empathetic witness to your pain is very healing, but it's also healing when we're alone and we cry that way. It can also be very healing as well. And on the note of having an empathetic witness to your pain, I know there are probably very few of you who would ever take me up on um, this piece of advice, because perhaps you don't actually have a person in your life who you could call upon for this. But if you're able to have an empathetic witness to your pain of someone who you trust, who loves you, who cares about you, if that person can be present in the room with you while you're doing the breath work, and you have an empathetic witness to your pain, then when those tears show up, you'll want to instruct that person to literally put a safe and loving physical touch with their hands somewhere on your body, maybe your shoulders, your chest, maybe they'll be holding your hand, and having that loving touch from an empathetic witness to your pain while you are experiencing the intensity of the emotions that surface can be above and beyond healing on an even deeper level. That will really prime your nervous system for healing. That will extra activate the ventral vagal nerve. You want this to the strongest degree possible. This is going to send such a healing message to your subconscious mind that you are safe and loved and supported, and that you have support when you're experiencing emotional pain. Now, most people won't have access to that, and I totally understand that, and that's okay, because you don't have to have that to get a totally incredibly amazing healing experience from this. Okay, I'm going to check in with you. How are you feeling right now? Like, what are you thinking? Is what I'm sharing with you scaring you away from the experience? Or are you conjuring up the bravery to brave into it and lean into it and say yes to it and surrender to what comes up? I believe that that's where you're at. And you want to know something amazing? The wisdom of your subconscious mind knows exactly what to do to keep you safe the entire time. Trust the wisdom of your subconscious mind. And, I point to the body when I say subconscious mind because the physical body is really a grand extension of the subconscious mind. It's not just in our brain, it's our full body as part of our subconscious mind. And that's sometimes why we have like a gut feeling, right? A gut intuition. It's in our body. It actually goes from our gut up through to the enteric nerve up to our brain. It sends messages from our body up to our brain. And so you are in control the entire time. You are safe the entire time. You are brave the entire time. And some of you may potentially experience subconscious blocks that won't allow you to go very deep. And maybe you need a couple of these breathwork sessions on a lighter note first before your subconscious mind feels safe enough to allow you to go there, to that deeper level. And that's okay. That's okay. So during the breath work, you may hear instructions to just stick with the breath, stay with the breath. And there's an exception to that. When there is an emotion that needs to come up and surface and just be expressed, take precedent in that. Always say yes to that, even if you have to, stop the technical breathing and just go into crying for a while, let it out, let it wail. Do this, do this. Oh, and let's go back to the breath holds for a moment, because after the breath holds, or at other points during the journey, you may experience what could be described as a light and gentle and blissful psychedelic-like experience where you may feel like you are floating, you may see some beautiful and interesting visuals. And typically, everyone who reports this is absolutely in love with their experience. I am a testament to that as well. Another thing to know about is there may be involuntary body movements. And some of this is just as a result of some of the neurochemistry changes that are happening within the body. And there may be like random flailing and, popping off and doing involuntary physical movements. And it might possibly be also that it is emotional trauma, stress, leaving the nervous system through physical movement. And there are some trauma experts who have books written about this as well. The first time I ever experienced something like this was very amazing. And it was actually not during breath work, but during a meditation. I was at a 7-day advanced meditation retreat. And at some point in the middle, I was sitting on a chair. And all of a sudden, my left leg like flung up like this super coiled spring that had been released, and it flung me up with such force that it flipped my whole body out of the chair and like shot me onto the ground. And there were people in the room. There was like 800 people doing a meditation, and all of these people in the room are volunteers for this very thing. And I just felt like four like loving people put their hands on me and like move me in a way that I'm safe. So I'm not like flailing and hitting like the metal leg of the chair, and they just moved me to a safe place where I could flail about. And for about 45 minutes straight, I had these beautiful involuntary body movements, and it was primarily on the left hand side of my body. And that is where most of the neurotoxin damage in my physical body was, on the left hand side. And that's where most of the flailing was taking place. And it was such a beautiful experience that after this 45 minutes of involuntary physical movement of trauma leaving my nervous system, I can only describe it as one of the most blissful experiences I ever had. And I swear my body produced its own Valium in like a very strong dose. I've never taken a prescription version of it, but the way that it's described was like very intense in what I was experiencing and above and beyond, and just filled with nothing but just like crying these tears of gratitude and having so much love for everyone in my life and everyone around me, and self-compassion and all this stuff. And it was the most beautiful experience. Very healing, like, wow, it was incredible. And so I'm going to provide some video clips of what the involuntary body movements can look like. And that way, when you see what it looks like, your subconscious mind now feels safe to give itself permission and surrender to the experience if that is going to serve you. And remember, the subconscious mind, the wisdom of your subconscious mind knows what you need here, and it's going to give you exactly what you need as long as you don't resist it. As long as you don't resist it. And your conscious rational mind might be saying, I don't want to resist it. I'm not going to resist it. But then sometimes there's some subconscious blockers that we're resisting it anyway. You might even practice with, if you're doing the breath, you could practice just taking a pause for a few seconds and work on relaxing your body as much as you can for a few seconds, and see if that surfaces anything, if you're feeling like you're not really surrendering to it. So that's something that you could experiment with if you want to. Okay, and let's talk about the safety of this. So there was a 12-year study with 11,000 participants, and they were all psychiatric participants that did this exact style of breathing, of breath work. And there was not a single adverse event or reaction. That says something. And that being said, since this can really elevate the heart, for those of you who may have really concerning cardiovascular issues, you're going to want to either talk to your physician before doing this, or maybe just take it at like half the pace. Slow it way the heck down. Slow it way the heck down. Another circumstance where you'll either want to talk to your either psychiatrist or physician is if you have schizophrenia, then either slow it way the heck down or talk to a doctor about it first. And I've had clients who have schizophrenia who have done this and they didn't slow down and they actually had amazing experiences. And that was how they chose to do it. Oh man, one of them was having this phenomenal breakthrough and he forgot to put his phone on silent and on airplane mode, and his phone was going off and it took him out of the experience. So whatever you do, make sure you don't have distractions. Do not allow distractions to come your way during this, okay? Very important. And for anyone who might be pregnant, who comes across this video and has an option to do a breathwork journey, this type of breathing can induce early childhood labor. Don't do it. This type of breathing can induce early childhood labor, like months and months before your due date. Don't do this if that's you. And if you are on very heavy medication for something psychiatric related, also talk to your doctor before doing something like this. And last but not least, if you have osteoporosis or osteoarthritis, you don't want to like flail your arm into something hard and break a bone, right? But that's going to be true for anyone, even if you have very strong, sturdy bones. It's not going to feel good to have an involuntary movement and flail into something hard. So be very careful. When I do this, I clear out a big space on the floor. I like to have a firm place to lay on. And I set a mat and I make sure they have a very wide space around me. No matter who you are, give yourself that wide area so your body can do its thing. All right, and what will you need for this? You're gonna need headphones. You're gonna need some headphones. If you just have earbuds, that's okay. But good quality makes a big difference, because a big part of this experience is the sound, the audio. Give yourself a beautifully amazing audio experience. And if it's noise canceling, even better. We want to shut out our outer world as much as possible. And so an eye mask as well. So you want to wear an eye mask, noise canceling headphones, a nice area to lay down on, either a firm mattress or the ground. Demonstrations of what it looks like with the involuntary flailing. So I have recorded myself several times for this. My biggest wailing and flailings, I have had some pretty large, phenomenal ones that felt like there was an earthquake in the house. I don't have those on recording. And interestingly enough, I had an empathetic witness to my pain during that. Two friends that they were also doing the breath work as well. And even though they weren't like focused on me, they were doing their own breathwork journey, there was something that provided an additional felt sense of safety to my body and my nervous system because of who I was in the room with. So let me go over the breath one more time. It's going to be diaphragmatic breathing for like the first half of the breath. Inhale, the second inhale, the chest, and then one exhale, and it'll cycle through. So and very important, if you're getting caught up and like tripped up in your mind of like, I can't do the diaphragm breathing and then the chest and it feels clunky and awkward and weird, and you're stuck in your like judgmental, analytical, not doing it right mind, then just throw all that technique out the window and just go. in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out. Whew, well, dizzy. You can slow it down if you need. Just remember, the most important part about the breath is full deep inhales, full exhales, low, slow, and deep. My coach, Brian Kelly, he calls it LSD breathing, LSD breathing, low, slow, and deep, low, slow, and deep. Interestingly enough, it can also give some similar neurochemical experiences as LSD. Very small amount. Our bodies have the innate ability to have beautifully amazing healing experiences. The breath is the tool, the breath is the medicine, the music and the hypnotic script, the words to go along with it, will help to access your subconscious mind more. And when your subconscious mind is so open, then the healing words from the hypnotic script are going to hit you in a deeper way, where you'll welcome it in and be less analyzing and resistant to it. So there you go. There we have it. I'm going to show you some examples of what it looks like to wail and flail and have some crying release. There is an example where I'm sitting up and I start like kind of blissfully laughing. I'm doing a different style of breath work there called the 60 seconds to freedom. It was only 1 minute of breath work and it like sent me into this blissful feeling, and I just had some spontaneous laughter come up. So that's why you'll see me sitting up in one of them. So I'm going to show you that.
Give me some trouble.
Let's do this. Let's do this. All right, buckle up and get ready for an upgrade. Because when you say yes to this, it is happening. All right, see you on the other side.